I see the countdown.
Uh, welcome, brother. Welcome to the Rose Garden. How are you?
I'm great, sister. How about you?
I'm doing all right today. It's all I love coming into our garden and spreading some more Grandma Rose's breadcrumbs. Um,
Absolutely.
it's been an interesting week as always, but this week has really caught me a little bit off guard with the shuttering of more government um, facilities and actually feeling the impact around me, seeing friends and colleagues and family members um, really impacted by it. So yesterday I was it's somewhat of a haze, and I took a nice long walk with my husband, and
Hmm.
uh, that did help, But one of my friends reminded me that this is like uh, almost identical to what happened to COVID, and it's almost like 5 years to the date because remember COVID happened in March 2020, that we are all having this kind of an uncertain reaction. The initial reaction was just so powerful, right? We felt um, paralyzed and a lot of fear and not having a lot of direction. But my friend reminded me that as time went on, as COVID went on, we figured it all out. So I think that's a good parallel to what's happening here, even though um, the threat was a little different. It was a virus, but people were dying, and we didn't want to be the ones that were dying. So death is a little bit different than losing a job, even though loss is loss. So yeah, but it's been hard to deal with that, and I'm an empath, so I can feel the tension that's in the environment, and that I lost sleep last night over it.
Well, you know what what's the telling sign to me is I don't know if you saw that that little spectacle where Elon Musk brought out the Teslas onto the White House lawn, and Trump was basically doing a commercial for him where he was saying, "I'm going to purchase a Tesla uh, without a discount or anything like that," because he was trying to support Elon because he's been impacted. Tesla
Right, right.
impacted by this stuff, which is interesting to me because it's affecting everyone,
Hmm.
right? So
Hmm.
this whole stuff should show that, and I think what the president was doing in that was trying to, you know, to basically assuage some of the impact that's happening to him, and
Hmm.
try to use some of his political influence to help booster the performance of Tesla, even though it's taking a hit right now, for multiple reasons, but definitely for, like you said, this domino effect of these choices and these policies that are happening right
Hmm. No, what he tried to do was create community, right? So, and he knows he has a community of people who are not very discerning or logical,
now.
and so they're like, if you show little symbols, little dangle, little fruit of, it's like telling people, I have golden grapes. Everybody come to the White House today. I got golden grapes, and you'll get one of those golden grapes. Um,
But
so
he also was, acknowledging, he mentioned, he's like, he doesn't want these things to hurt Elon. He's like, Elon is a patriot and all this stuff and shouldn't hurt. So he's acknowledging the fact that it actually is causing an impact.
hmm. Hmm.
This is why he was trying to support him by purchasing one of the vehicles or whatnot. But
Right. What's having an impact on us all. So,
mhm,
and listen, it seemed like they don't care about the impact for the common person. It's just the people that they care about, they've pinned. And so the impact is felt greatly. And when people that we know are losing their jobs and, it's shuttering our communities. I mean, the federal government is a huge employer in Maryland, DC, and Virginia. And you see the impact. Like just look at restaurants; they're bare during the middle of the day. The train isn't as packed, so
mhm.
there's definitely impact. So that's how I started my week. But I um, uh, have dug myself out of that now and told myself I'm not going to end my week with those types of that type of uncertainty, because we can pull from the lessons that we learned from COVID, and we did, like we got through it, we adapted, we're changing, we're going to get through it too, but we're in that initial chaos, and that initial chaos is it's been felt. I feel it almost every day, and I don't know how to not feel it. But so that's how I started the week. And then also, your niece had surgery, and so we've had, it went well. It really went well. But here's something I learned about pain.
Uh-oh. What's that?
So even the toughest people can
Mhm.
react to pain in an interesting way. So pain is a part of surgery, and certainly the surgery that she had. And one of the things that she how she reacted to that pain is by being more infantilized. So she needed somebody to sleep with her. She wanted some snuggling. She needed some help. And you
Uh,
know and the lesson for me was I had to provide the help in the way that she was asking for it, not in the way that I wanted to give it. And so there was an initial tension, which you really don't want to get in a fight with no invalid, right? Where because that comes off mean. But then at some point when I was getting more sleep deprived, I was trying to save myself, jump myself on the life raft and say, well, this is the support that I can give you. So it's been an interesting week balancing the reaction from the losses with my colleagues and friends, and then you know adapting to the support that I have to give my invalid, who had
uh,
a very specific manner of support that she was requesting. So, and then today is her birthday, so trying to balance that celebration with the fact that and it's a milestone birthday, and she can't even do any of the milestone things right now. So
21?
she's 21. She's
Oh wow, I
21.
didn't know that. Hey, would you know what? Happy birthday to her. But hey, I feel her on that because I told you on Monday, on Monday I had a guest that came over. Then on Tuesday when he left, I wasn't really feeling. I started out with a cough, and it escalated to a fever and my body feeling weak and aching. And when I started realizing I'm not feeling well, I got that sense of wanting to get love, hugs and cuddles and pampered and stuff like that. It is interesting when you get into the state where you sense some vulnerability in yourself, that you need that nurturing and love and support. And
Right.
it's kind of cool. I like what you said about she wanted it a specific type of way, and that's the thing about people is like understanding exactly how they need it, right? And then providing it that way, being
Right.
willing to. Because I think sometimes, like you said, people aren't really willing to give things to you the way you want them.
Right.
They want to
Right.
give it the way that they think that they could give it and all that, and that's where the discontentment comes in. You know.
Absolutely. And resentment, right? Because what I know about mine is they're gonna hold on to this one time at band camp when I didn't provide the support that was needed, and then it's gonna come back, and a tale will be told about how I didn't provide the support in
Well,
the way it was requested. And I got to be careful now because my kids are in that age where they think that they can tell me that they're gonna put me in homes and institutions.
are they going to they're going to threaten you? Huh? These are ultimate. Hey, these Talibanis, they wild, right? No,
They
but
were.
I hear you on it though. I mean, honestly, though, I do think that these moments they bring the opportunity for you to demonstrate how you feel about them.
Yeah.
I was thinking about as you were saying that. I don't know if you knew, but West's son had a terrible accident where he had accidentally poked his eye with a pair of scissors.
Mm,
So that injury threatened him to lose the eye, and they actually had to go to a children's hospital.
hmm
Um, when they were there, Wes was commenting on how, just the expression of the love that he had for his son, that he was actually laying down in the bed next to his son in the hospital bed. But the mother was there too, but she's in the room sitting on a chair, like sleeping on the chair. But Wes was saying he was like close to him because he said he wanted him to be able to just be able to reach out and touch him and tap him when he needed something. You know what I
hmm
mean? So I
hmm
do think there's adjustments that you make when it's a loved one going through pain,
Right.
and that at that moment, there's no way that you can be selfish in any kind of way.
No way. No, it's not about you. And that's but that's the beauty of this human experience, is not about you. But there's something else that happened this week that's all about me, and it had me curious and thinking,
Tell me what.
because so I encountered a situation where someone commented on my hair.
Oh, what they
Okay.
say?
They said, and it was a male. It happened to be a male. Somebody that what's making you laugh, brother?
I
What's
can't wait
making
to hear. I can't wait to hear what he said. What he said about your hair.
so he said to me, and now let me give, I got to build the context. I got, if I'm going to tell the story, I got to create the story context.
I
So
got you.
this is somebody that I provide a service to, and I provide a service to the family,
Okay.
and they've been with me for many, many years. And so I think what is confused in this role and in this situation is that I'm friends with them. I'm very friendly in the capacity that but I'm not their friend.
I got
And
you.
so he mentioned to me, so I wear my hair in two styles. It's either up in the kind of mohawks, kind of spiky hair, or
Right, right.
this on the days where I am having weeks like this, it is down and it's very low.
Okay.
And you can see the natural wave. And he mentioned to me, when are you going to grow your hair out? He said, women look so beautiful with hair. And so I said, never, right? I mean, I said, I'm never going to grow my hair out. I like my hair short. I said, I look better with short hair. And I said, it's interesting that though you think it's okay to have this conversation with me when we're not friends, and to set the other stage of this is this individual is not traditionally what I would call attractive, right? Like my eyes, I have eyes, right? And that's one thing grandma always said, ugly plus ugly equals ugly, right? That was one of her famous remarks.
So did
And
you
then the
take
other thing,
you took his remarks to mean that because you have short hair that you're not attractive to him? Is that what that's how you
well,
took
I,
that?
I, I think indeed that's what was alluded to, because then a discussion about all of their
Mhm.
partners ensued, and how they had encountered a young woman in college who had started off with long hair and came back. And when he saw her with the short hair, he thought she had totally mutilated herself.
Oh man.
So it was an interesting dialogue, and I thought, this is an interesting way. Now here's the other part: this person was not a black person.
Okay.
Person was not black, which I felt like you're taking a whole lot of freedoms with this conversation. Again, we're in a more of a professional capacity, but I've been in around this person for many years.
Uh-huh.
And so I thought, you know where does this idea of beauty come from?
Mm.
And why is it situated so much around the hair? I
Mm-hmm.
think particularly when it comes to black women.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I try to keep it as light as possible. And when things don't matter to me, like, you know, that person's opinion did not matter to me. So I did not give it much dialogue at the moment. But but the problem is there's a little Sarita in my head that be talking too, right? So then when you look at yourself, you're like, know, what is it about my hair that made that person feel that free to come, to converse with me? What am I missing about the long hair experience that, perhaps other people, uh, you know, see me
Well,
differently?
well, I mean, there's biblical scripture that says the hair of a woman is like the crown on her head. So I could see how people have that impression, but I've also heard comments from unsolicited comments from people that have seen you on this podcast who have complimented you on your hair. But my personal thought on this is that I really give credit to a woman who is able to pull off the short hair look, because that says something about her underlying beauty, right? Because sometimes I ain't gonna lie to you that someone having, you know, really long hair and healthy looking hair or whatnot, when you see them from the back or whatnot, you might think that they might be attractive, but when they turn around and you get to see the actual faces, you're like, wow, this. So mine is the hair. So the hair is a cover up in a way, right?
Mm,
It could be, right?
mhm.
But I do think that there's a boldness in a woman that could pull off a short haircut. I've always, like I told you before, I always respected those women that sometime for a cause that they might just shave their hair completely bald.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's it. That to me sets a statement about a woman who still maintains femininity without hair at all, right? Still is attractive, you know, but is not dependent upon that seemingly imposed on you standard, right?
Right, right.
And
But let's go back to what you said when you see them from behind
right,
and
right.
the hair looks
Mhm,
healthy.
mhm.
Like, what is the male fetish with hair? Like, it ain't, listen, I can assure you, you ain't playing in my hair, right? Like, so even if I had these big long locks and I could walk on my hair, you ain't putting your little nasty hands in my hair to tangle it all up, and you're not keeping it nourished and combed and brushed. So do you just like looking at it? Like,
Well,
what is?
well, I would say that for a man that embraces his masculinity, you always going to be attracted to the total opposite. So most of the time, men aren't walking around with long hair. Most of the time.
No, you ain't seen them. Listen,
Now, I'm not saying that. I have seen those dudes with like dreads and braids and long stuff,
right?
or the afros and
Looking
whatnot.
like Black Jesus.
Yeah, but I guess if we're gonna speak in general senses in general terms, usually the woman has longer hair than the man. Usually.
Okay.
So as a standard, a man is always going to be drawn to the things about a woman that is totally different than what a man would have, right?
Okay. So it's the opposite. It's the
Yeah,
distinction that is
the
attractive.
opposite. Yeah, so that's why
Okay.
like a masculine man will always like a feminine woman, right?
Hmm.
And
So
then
hair equals femininity.
yeah, I would say so, based on that standard, right? But
Hmm.
again, this is a in general thing. So let's just say in general, right?
Hmm.
Um, I would say that the standard that beauty in
Hmm.
general,
Hmm.
the majority of the population aren't meeting the baseline standard.
No, they not. That's what I'm saying in my mind.
Yeah, the majority are not. So the way they cover it up is by these little things that I think are enhancers that help. So
Like hair.
like hair. So like let's just say I think sometimes a less attractive face, like our grandmother, I like the word she uses. I mean, it's very politically correct.
Homely.
Home, a homely face can be hidden behind long hair,
Okay.
and
But
I
that's
think,
just hiding. You still got to live with that homely person.
yeah.
You still
But
got
look,
to look
but
in
you
their
could
homely eyes.
you could do something to like cover up the homeliness with the mane that's the crown that's adorning it, right? So
Okay.
I see that how that can hide some of the aspects of the homeliness, right?
Okay.
And so
So
these
the
things are
visual.
enhances, you know.
So essentially, you want to create this visual illusion
Yeah.
of I don't have a homely person, even though, see, this is the problem with the human brain, is
Mhm.
that it creates a condition where we are tricking ourselves into believing that because this person may have this wild mane,
Right,
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 of hair, and hopefully, it represents some level of attraction,
right.
healthiness, that it is attractive. And what I'm here to say is, like many women of every hue and race, we can purchase hair, and they are purchasing hair.
That's right.
So, so the fullness and thickness that people are so attracted to, and the length for that matter, isn't always authentic. So what you are buying is this fake sense of beauty that we can all put on. But to me, beauty is much deeper than, now there's types of beauty. So I'm not going to, again, and we were schooled on this. There's physical attractiveness and beauty, but then the whole beauty is like what's in someone's heart. So there's, plenty of people that you've seen with people who have not been visually appealing, and you and they're themselves have been attractive. You ask yourself, like, how did that person get with that person, right? And
Yeah,
then you meet the other person, and you meet their heart, and you meet their level of curiosity and support and intimacy, and then you're like, oh, I see how they're together, because that person uses all these characteristics that you may not be able to observe with your eyes, which indeed the eyes are the weakest sense, right? They're the sense that the sense that we should rely on the least, because it can we can miss so much,
yeah, I
right? There's so
agree.
much going on. So the eyes tell the lies, really. But
Yeah,
other senses, if we activated other senses, we could really cue in to people's genuine nature and their real level of beauty. Because to be honest, I can buy, if it was that I thought hair made me beautiful, then I could purchase hair,
yeah, you could.
wig.
But even with that, right? I would say that again, like I said, the majority of the world doesn't even live up to the average benchmark of beauty. But I would say if you did a poll of the majority of men, so just coming up with the generalized standard, most men appreciate natural beauty more than they would want to have the unnatural.
How do you mean appreciate? Tell me what you
So,
mean by
so
that
like I would
word.
say that most men, for the woman that they have in their life,
Hmm.
would prefer for that woman to not have any enhancements or implants, any augmentation for her regular beauty. So right now,
Okay.
right, let's just say for instance, if most men, if they were gonna, and this is the reason why I think a lot of women conceal the augmentation that they have for themselves, because they understand this principle that I'm about to share with you now, right? But let's
Okay.
just say, right, so again, like going back to the point that most men like in women what's different than themselves. So it's become commonplace for women to do like breast augmentations, lip filling,
Hmm. Hmm.
BBLs and stuff like
Hmm.
this, right? And all of those things, yes, they do get men's attention because men do not normally have boobs, right? So they're gonna be looking at a woman that is well endowed in her breast, area, and she's showing the cleavage. Like men can appreciate that. But given the choice between the woman who is naturally voluptuous in this way, that people will say have an apple bottom or an hourglass figure or
Hmm.
whatever, they would rather have that natural woman, you know, than this, augmented woman, because in a very real sense, having an augmented woman is tantamount to ordering a blow up doll or something,
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
thing. And anybody can have that, but somebody that actually has something. So I would say, equating that to the hair, a man would definitely prefer to have a woman that her hair is all natural. So
So
for
what
the
happens when you find out it's not?
well, going back to running your hands through a woman's hair, right? So if you are the lucky man that a woman is happy to allow you to run your hands through her hair or whatever, I think you get disappointed when you run your hands through her hair and you start feeling things that you're surprised that are there. You know what I mean? You stumble upon and it's a surprise, right? And you're thinking like, wow. So look, I would say this, right? In in my experience in life, right now, my son, I think he has an affinity to long hair.
Okay.
Of course, his mom had long hair, and
Mhm.
when he was a baby, that used to be kind of like his blanket. Like he would
Mm,
when he would go to sleep and stuff, he would like play in her hair and hold her hair and all that stuff. And he got attached to that. But I think
okay.
now even uh, he likes long hair, and hair is an attachment to him. But it
Mhm.
it could not be fake, because before people were saying, even when he was a baby, like maybe you could uh, do something like get him a wig that he could hold on to at night and stuff like that. But he wouldn't want that. He
How
wanted
do you know? Did you try
because
it?
you try it. Yeah, you try to give him something that is imitation hair. He wouldn't want to go for it. He wants something that in your head that he can touch in there and do whatever he's doing to play with it. That is it. But then in my own personal experience, that messes with me too, right? Because I have, uh, I know what it's like when a woman's hair is all natural and long and all that stuff. I know that what it's like that. And then I know what it's like when you playing in a woman's hair and then you find this stuff that ain't supposed to be there, and she has the appearance of long hair, but it ain't really hers, right?
Right.
And then it be between the two. I'd rather her not do that.
Hmm.
I'd
Hmm.
rather her just wear her hair as natural as it is, right? Now the exception to this rule would be if she has something really going on that's an issue, health
Okay.
wise, right? Like let's just say she got what's that thing called, propecia or something like that,
Alopecia.
alopecia or
Alopecia.
something, and then so or
Right.
that or if something going on, right? Where
Right.
she needs this, then then it's different, right? Because you would be like, you'd understand the reason. But
Right.
then that's where I feel like people need to enlighten you. I heard this one story of this guy in China, right? He's a model actor, so he's
Hmm.
by by whatever standard he was attractive.
Okay. Okay.
So he wanted of course uh, marry an attractive woman and have babies, create a family with this attractive woman. So he found one, right? Then
Hmm.
they started having babies, and he started thinking, well, she must be cheating on me because these babies are homely. You know,
He wasn't satisfied with the outcome of the
no, no,
reproduction.
no. So this is what he found out after having babies with this woman. He found out that she had like 89 surgeries. So
Wow.
she was a super homely woman before she went through those surgeries. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So this man was distraught, right? He took her to court and everything, and won.
Really?
Yeah, he won. He won because
So
she fooled him. So
why
like
do you think that's foolery though? Because
that
the
was
person,
foolery. That
what
was foolery
was
because
it
he didn't give
foolery?
her. Hmm?
Was it foolery because she didn't reveal the
Yeah,
89
she didn't. She
enhancements?
didn't. She didn't reveal. But if she had revealed that, she wouldn't have had that opportunity with him for sure.
How do you think? So let me
Because
ask you this.
his criteria for wanting to be with somebody. So this is the thing, right? Where we talking about deception, right? I love the way you said that. The visual sense is the most
Right.
effective of all the senses, right? Because it definitely is not something you can rely on completely, right? But
Right.
it gives you a full form of intelligence though that is necessary. But I'll say this though, the whole part about being deceptive, right? It's right now. Let's just say if I had a woman and I knew that let's just say the woman was blind, right? And she
Blind.
was
Okay.
racist and she didn't know I was black, you know.
Right.
And I don't know what culture she's from, but just to say she's racist against black people. But I know this, you know. But
Hmm.
I like her and she falls in love with me for things other than the fact that I'm black. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Then somebody tells her, hey, that dude black, right? You know what I mean? I feel like there's some deception in that because that's a piece of knowledge that she didn't know already. But I
Right.
knew, you know what I mean? So like
Right.
now, and it's totally fine if somebody has a certain type of criteria, right? Let's just say my daughter says, she want to be a stay-at-home, what she say? She want to be stay-at-home wife or something like that, right? Now that's her criteria, right? She want to find a dude that will, that agree to her being a stay-at-home wife. Now, but some dudes ain't with that. You know what I mean? So I think that this is something like when you're talking about making a connection with somebody that you put on the table, right? It's
Hmm.
just like saying, right now, if I'm about to fight a war, well, I want to fight a war with true soldiers. I don't want a
Okay.
whole army full of people that are suckers, right? So,
Okay.
so now if you ain't a soldier, why come to the table faking that you want to go to war? You know what I'm saying? Why not be like, hey, that ain't my forte, you know what I mean? Like I can help out in the war thing, But what I could do is help with money or like, help with people that get hurt or something like this. But
But
I
that's the
couldn't, you
but
know.
beauty enhancements are the things is so it to me though there's a
Mhm.
little bit of hypocrisy in what you're
Mhm.
saying because especially about the case of the man who divorced and then sued the woman
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
she enhanced her beauty to make herself beautiful.
Right. But she enhanced her beauty to make herself beautiful so she could get a man like that who
To get
wanted
another
that because
beautiful mate.
most men, and you always hear this this terminology of a trophy wife, right? So most men want to have a woman that looks good on their own.
But shouldn't isn't that what we should actually be dealing with? Is that women in some contexts have been reduced to objects
Mm-hmm.
when that is not the same standard of beauty that we project onto men. And if it were, it would be deeply criticized because in mass, I don't, well, and let's just say this, men are enhancing their beauty too. I
Yeah.
ran into a gentleman who went to Turkey to get hair transplants.
Mm.
Turkey, all the way to Istanbul to get hair transplants. And it worked, but it was deeply painful. And that was his confidence. He was he was open about it. And we again, we were in a business relationship. I think he was the guy who helped us update our car or something. When they come and teach you how to use your car when you get a new car.
Right, right,
And
right.
we could see something had gone on with the dude's hair, but we weren't obviously looking and creating this kind of like tension. Dude was like, I want to tell y'all something about my gift, and and then what he shared with us was like, on the day he got his hair transplant, he said it's like a clinic. Dudes all over the world coming in to get these hair transplants. So men are getting these beauty enhancements, and I'm not hearing the wives say, I'm gonna divorce this dude because he went when I got him, the original package, I got him and had hair. Because you take my husband. When I met him, he had a beautiful black mane, okay? Loved his hair. He is absolutely bald now. And I still love every part of that. So there's a standard here that's being uh, put on women that's not put on men. And we are as visual as men. We
But
feel
see,
as
I,
deceived.
I don't think that this whole thing between men and women can't be an objective of trying to be exact same. I think equality don't mean same. You know what I mean? So there's
Tell me
always
more.
to be a standard difference between men and women. So
Okay.
for instance, like, and in truth, they're based on some reasonable things, right?
Okay.
So, the reality is, like, for instance, like women are gonna be the ones that carry babies, right? So
Yeah.
in this way, and to the extent of attractiveness, that game of the mating game, the peacocking and all that stuff that we all do, men and women do. But
Hmm.
the cosmetic industry is built on women, not on men. You know what I mean? It's more
Okay.
money happening from the woman's side, but that's
Okay.
okay because in order for even in that case that I told you about in China or whatnot, that
Hmm.
woman, if she would, her regular self would not have any chance of being with that man,
How do
right?
you know that though?
Because the man's criteria was an attractive woman and she wasn't attractive.
Okay. So the
That's
internal conditioning is what you said that I so you have reduced attraction to this visual dynamic that occurs first by what a person has decided they see is
right.
what you've reduced it to.
Well, that's so I think that's the first, again, like it's levels to things, right? And so if you have a comparison, like, an apples to apple comparison, where you see two shiny apples, but now when you cut one open, you see a worm, and you cut the other one open and there's no worm, then you're going to take the one that don't got a worm in it, because it's
Okay.
not infested, right? But they both look shiny from the outside. You
Hmm.
ain't know this other one had a worm in it, so you cut into it, right? So
Okay.
I do think that when you look at the standards of beauty, like, beauty first comes from within. I do think that there's some people that can radiate beauty, and there are
Mhm.
their presence and their energy that can just radiate it.
Right.
But but
And isn't that attractive? Like, I
that
think we
is
don't spend enough
that
attention.
is
So
that is
we
attractive.
we don't spend enough time then
Hmm.
conditioning socially
Hmm.
on that, right? We don't we look at just look primitively at peer groups,
Right,
and peer groups even shake down, but the pretty kids usually hang with the pretty kids, the heavier kids are with the heavier kids, the kids, so we do this very organically, I think, in
I
this social conscious kind of setup that we have.
right,
But
right,
we can do something to disrupt that as these higher order beings that we are, and we can say, pay attention to, like, we could be training our children, pay attention to kids that are listening and kids that are not always putting themselves first, like these um, uh, characteristics that are not just visually appealing. Now, our eyes do, like, like you said, there's a shiny apple. Our eyes will bring us to the thing that stands out, but we are in control of our senses. So we can create um, a necessary bridge, I would think, to what is good for me physically, and versus what I see. So is it good just to date the attractive girl who uh I'm hoping this, let's take this Chinese woman who had 89 surgeries. I'm hoping also she was a good person, right? And that she had a good heart and was, none of that was revealed in that conversation when he found out that his kids were homely, and he was looking at him and his wife saying, how is that possible?
oh man, you made me laugh at that. No, I hear you on that. I just think that, to your point, right? You're talking about like true, real virtues. I honestly, I believe that the superficial stuff will get you in the room. It'll get you in. It'll get you, you know, it'll get you recognized. But what will get somebody deeply engaged is if you have something beyond that. You know what I
Right.
mean? So, but I think that happens on both sides. Right now when I hear women talk about men in general, if a group of women are together and they talking about a new man that this girl met,
You
they
be hanging around groups of women that's talking about new men,
I be
or
listening.
these?
When I be out and about, I listen to women talking and stuff, and I just be observing women talk. But you know what they say? This is the standard thing I hear women be like, what does he do? You know, like,
Mm.
so they're trying to see what the status of this man is, right?
Mhm. You don't hear them say, "Is he fine?" Because I
Or,
mean, I'm a
or
woman.
what does he have? Like, he has a
That
house,
is that
car.
is that is so what you're cued into. Because I'm telling you, I sit in groups of women, and old women now. We all middle aged women, and we real thirsty, and we done been with fat, ugly, thin. You know, at this point, when you get this at the selection box, you like, girl, is he fine?
Well, see,
The
that's also like that. So what you telling me is that women again try to imitate what they think men doing. Talking about like, is she attractive? Because usually when men talk, when you meet a girl, you like, oh, I just met this new girl. What she look like? You know, that's what men gonna ask you. What she look like, or whatever.
right,
But
right.
girls ask each other, well, what does he do? What does he have? All this stuff. But
That's a part of
you don't never hear them say anything that has any virtue. Like, damn, that man is so hard working. He's so determined. He's loyal. He's
Well,
respectful.
I think you get to that part of the conversation afterwards. So, and
Mhm.
I think also it's when you're listening in the conversation. So we all have some primitive reaction when there's a new piece of meat on the table. Okay, just like your so we all have new primitive. When there's a new piece of meat on the table, we want to know if it's good steak or just okay steak,
Yeah.
right?
So all of this stuff is what it's meant to be, right? Because like right
Right.
now we say, when again going back to that analogy of two shiny apples. You know what? The external shininess of these apples made them both a candidate to be eaten.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that part had to happen first. Now,
Right.
when
Right.
you cut into the apple, then you start saying, "Oh, this one got a worm in it, so I'm throwing that out."
Right. Right.
Okay, well, this one look healthy enough to eat, so I'm gonna stay with this one. You
So
know,
we need to dig into the layers. We need
you
to,
got to dig into the
we
layers.
got
Yeah.
to dig it. But that's the part that I don't think we spend enough time doing. And I think the older you get, you are enticed by maybe one thing. So it might be beauty, it may be, in your example, money,
Right.
because that's a real need that people have, money and
Right.
stability.
Right.
So those might be the things that are enticing and attracting in these older ages. What I'm suggesting though is we do more as in the developmental course about training about virtues and how to love people within a set of principles, and not all of those things. Because when you operate in those things, thinking about the building blocks of a relationship, you know the beauty of dating in your 20s is you don't have, none of y'all have nothing.
Right.
Right.
Right. Nobody
So,
has to at all. Right. Just potential. All you got is potential.
you got you got potential. And so, and I have been, I dated someone in that stage where what was attractive to me about him was his virtue, not his money, not his, and he was decently looking. Like, he wasn't an ugly person, he's actually a very attractive person. And so, but I taught myself at that time to pay more attention to the behaviors and characteristics that made him a good man versus all of those other things. And then, as the spouse or the person, as the partner, I said, how do I bring out good man in him? What are the things that I need to do? And then the other thing, the other antenna that went up was, how does that person bring out the best woman in me? And so all of that was the beauty of dating in your 20s, right?
No,
Like,
I
so
totally agree with you on that. I
yeah,
totally agree. And I've actually tried to implant that kind of thinking on my children, right? In terms of how they're evaluating a potential candidates to partner with, is to have some real criteria by which to see them by. Because no matter what, you're gonna start being introduced to the layers of people that you're exposed to. Period. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
And then when you start seeing those layers, that's when this discontentment happens, right? Because
Yes.
you'll look at it and you'll say, "Oh, well, this person is really not kind. They kind of like cruel." And
Right.
when you pull back the layers, outside of just being a shiny apple on the outside, they full of worms inside. You know what I
Right.
mean? Yeah. So
Right.
I don't want this individual.
Right.
But
Right.
I do think that there's a thing when it's just the natural thing that happens when you spend a lot of time with anything. Like you
Right.
could be a person who hates cats or dogs or something, right? And
Right.
you get this one stray cat that keeps coming up every day, and you feed it or whatever, but you keep it outside and everything, but it just keeps coming. It starts growing on you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like a spray.
yeah. Then after a while, something happened to the cat. You miss the cat, whatever, but you still may not like cats for real, But
Right.
that thing grew on you. So I feel like sometimes when or like our mom might say, out there kissing a bunch of frogs or whatnot, which I definitely
Right.
totally don't subscribe to that philosophy at all. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
the point is that you have zero criteria, right? You don't be just kissing frogs and hoping one will turn into a prince. Nah,
Right. Right.
maybe you can observe the frogs and see if there's one frog that got princely ways.
Right.
Maybe that,
Right.
maybe that
So
one might be one
it's on.
that you can risk of kissing on. You know what I'm saying? You don't just pick up every damn frog you come across.
Right.
But I
Right.
feel
Right.
like, you know, uh, but people are doing that. Like I
Yeah.
told you back back before, like just happenstance. We just letting hey, this one showed interest in me, so nobody else did, so I'm gonna go ahead and entertain this, even
Right.
though that person has zero. They're giving you zero indicators outside of the interest they showed in you. But I feel like if you're an incredible person, everybody's gonna have some interest and be drawn in you in some way. You know,
Absolutely.
so
If
that
you
right
if you
there.
operate in that, if you operate in that. Now, let's go before we leave. I want to tell you the influence of having a brother,
Mhm.
and the messaging that happens when you are a younger sibling and you're dating. Because your messaging was always, don't do this because these ninjas ain't shit,
Right,
and you gonna get so. And I will say that there was a lot of fear in that messaging, So when I was taking risks on people, I would be hearing like, well, you know what? Uh, when this character came out, that person, my brother was trying to tell me that, you know, this is who they are and what they are. So it's good to have people who are a little bit older, even though you know you only 11 months older than me. So you
Right,
ain't
right, right.
so wise, but older and wiser to impart take that. But think about the people who don't have uh, that level of support and messaging. And so they're getting it from the dumbest sources in the world, which is usually their friends,
That's so
you
true.
know?
That's
And so, and people who don't truly care about them in the sense that like a family member or a parent would. And if your parents aren't talking to you, because that's the other thing is parents are not really telling uh, their children the truth sometimes, you know, or helping. You know, one of the beauties of living with an older, you know, parent, grandparent like we did was she was brutally honest. Like y'all walking around with your pants sagging down, you know,
that's true. She was
you
real.
know, she was very real. And she had uh, a tenor about that made you very, you know, if you weren't associated with the group that, you know, them rats, you rolling around with the rats in the rat holes, and you know, you felt like that, and she projected that onto you if you looked like that or behaved like that. So I don't think parent like, you know, mom certainly didn't talk to us like that, and I don't see other parents saying y'all looking like bums and the rats in the rat hole, you know. So we had that benefit, and I just want to encourage people to think about like how can you be a good uh, teacher and a mentor to people who don't necessarily have it, and how can you be discerning, because the one thing that's going to save us in this tragic moment that we're all going through is this is community, and creating a community and caring about the community, um, and beyond what we're looking like, which is really my point of bringing this up. Why it kind of sat with me, the little Sarita in my mind connected it was, you know, here we are in a time where people are getting fired and not eating, and you care so much about my short hair and
Yeah,
what that
that's
has to do, instead of really cultivating a sense of community and love and um, uh, value around who we are as individuals. And so I think we need that so much more than talking about things and um,
100%. I totally agree with you. Just 2 points to emphasize what you bringing up. I was thinking about like Muhammad Ali, and then just fighters, just personalities inside of the same profession, right? And
mhm,
when you think about like Muhammad Ali compared to any other boxer, you see somebody that actually was involved in the upliftment of a community as a whole, you know, just aligned with the point of thought that you bring up, right? Where he may not have made as much money as like Floyd Mayweather, for example.
mhm,
And like Floyd Mayweather, I think he could probably be frustrated because he would say, well, why doesn't the community love me as much as they love Muhammad Ali? You know,
mhm, mhm,
but in the embodiment of what Muhammad Ali was, I guess the point I'm trying to make is that when we looking at people, right now, if I'm looking at a woman, to be my wife, which that that I don't know what you would call it, but that mantle or that title,
mhm,
that's important to me. So I'm not just
mhm,
giving that out to anybody. But
mhm,
I say like, but for me to like really consider a woman to be my wife, I want to see her in the world without me. Like, how does she show up in the world without me? And
mhm,
I look at everything about her,
mhm,
So
mhm,
how is she in her family? You know,
mhm,
is she a good daughter? Is she a good sister? Is
mhm,
she a good mother?
mhm,
Is how then is she in her community?
mhm,
How is she in the ecosystem around her? How do people see her?
mhm.
How see those things matter because like somebody could treat you really well.
Right,
They could be horrible to everybody else. And the
right,
only thing that will change that is as soon as the familiarity and the novelty wears off, you'll be just like everyone else to her, you know.
right,
So
right.
this matters. But
What a
thank
good
you.
point. No,
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you for always spending time with me in the Rose Garden and help me understand and shape and you got to talk to the little Sarita in my head that be going off, because it was a lot going on in my mind for real. And sometimes I wish I had the freedom to just let it go, be myself in those situations, but I didn't in that moment.
Yeah, it
But
wasn't for him. That deeper conversation wasn't for him anyway.
yeah, it really wasn't, and it wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
But today I want to highlight your business in our closing, because we said that we were going to do that for at the end of each of our episodes. And so today I want to highlight your Black business, BizTech Fusion,
Thank you.
and the great work that it does in not only for the DC metropolitan area, but internationally. You are an international business, and your IT solutions are supporting businesses as small as mine, and making us greater. We have a program that you all created for us that is innovative. And when we came up for our accreditation, we got lots of points for the creativity and the solutions that are driven for our patients. And so we're deeply appreciative of what BizTech offers. And then also your nonprofit, which is Reach, that does so much to support job training efforts for our returning citizens, and providing support and psychoeducation for returning citizens. So I highlight BizTech and salute the great work that you do, and also Reach, because it's so right now we need to continue to create community and establish community, and to make sure that when things settle, Black people know where to go. So if y'all need some IT solutions, y'all go to BizTech. And if you are a returning citizen who needs support, reach out to Reach, because they are there to help.
And one more, the delightful indulgence, which is to
That's right.
get,
The
get some
sweet
life.
treats,
Yeah, the sweets.
delightful. And if you want your hips to grow, you can go to Delightful. I forgot about Delightful Indulgence, which is indeed it's a custom pastry, and known for their custom cakes and cake designs, um, and also other pastries. And so, yeah, I forgot that was a part of your
That also was started to
portfolio.
commemorate Grandma Rose because she was an excellent cook and baker. So I wanted to,
Excellent baker.
yeah. But
Yeah.
I appreciate this honor. Thank you for that, sister. I love spending
No,
time
I
with you. And so the
I
next,
love spending time with you in the Rose Garden. I'll see you next week.
all right, take good care, sister. Bye for now. Excuse me. Hello?
All right.